Yo, 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 welcome to the Sports Reverends podcast. My name's Dan Chandran.
My name's Drew Martin.
We love sports, but we couldn't cut it on the court. We couldn't cut it on the ice. Couldn't cut it on the mound. Couldn't cut on the gridiron. We're no experts, but we are
the Sports Reverends. On today's show, this episode of the Sports Reverends, we're getting a bit of the NBA draft, a bit of the NHL draft, a little free agency happening. We're talking a bit of baseball, so let's get to it.
All right. I got to start this show off right. The 2019 NBA champions.
Whoa. This sounds a little too familiar, Dan. This was last week's show.
Come on now, I'm going to be celebrating the Raptors all summer long. We're the champions, man. We the champs.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, celebrate a little bit. You go. How about we get into something that happened this past week, the NBA draft. Now, I'm gonna listen to you because you're the expert here, but Tell me what you liked about it.
Yeah, the NBA draft, I want to start out by saying it was really, really cool to see the top three picks be so emotional and real and vulnerable during their draft. I was moved, honestly. I was moved by their sincerity and all that. And it was really cool. That's why I first have to say that for sure. I was moved by Zion, Ja Morant, and RJ giving love to their parents and talking about their stories. I thought that was cool. I also liked how well so many teams have set themselves up for the futures. And maybe we can talk a little bit about which teams have done the best and which teams have done the worst for this NBA draft so far, setting themselves up for free agency and for the future. So I'm going to start with, obviously, my number one pick, Zion Williamson, he's set it up for the New Orleans Pelicans. I think
they're looking real good.
Yeah, definitely. They're set up. They have cap space. They're looking at adding some pieces in free agency on top of their already good starting five. I liked the supplementary picks that they had as well. They picked up Jackson Hayes, at the number 8 pick, and the Canadian boy at the number 17 pick at Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's cousins with the Clippers, Gilgeous-Alexander, point guard there, and So I think they're about 7 deep right now, and they need one more, maybe 2 more pieces to keep them going. But the Pelicans,
the name I've heard floated around has been Al Horford going to the Pelicans.
That'd be incredible. A Horford, Zion, 3 stretch 5. Oh man, he'll rebound everything, defend the big guys for Zion. That'd be an incredible pickup. I like that there's now life also now in the New York Knicks. I think R.J. Barrett is probably the right personality to play there. He's going to get booed a lot.
He thinks he's the best.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you have to going into it like that, or else you'll fail. What do you think of the Memphis situation with Ja Morant and how they're looking?
Yeah, I like what they're doing. I think they've got a building block now to build around. They've gotten rid of their big contracts and they're ready to rebuild the right way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Another team I like to look at, I think, who probably is my second. So I'll go New Orleans as my number one. How they've done in the draft. My second favorite is actually the Hawks. The Hawks have set themselves up. Their young core is pretty nice right now. That addition of DeAndre Hunter. I love Cam Reddish. I think he's going to be an excellent NBA player. He fills.
Yeah, he slipped a little bit there to 10.
Yeah, to number 10, I think he fills like everything that you're looking for in an NBA player, Cam Reddish has. So I think the Hawks have a deadly young core.
Yeah,
Might be the best young core.
yeah,
I
Trey
might,
Young and John Collins, and yeah,
yeah, man. Um, the biggest surprise, I would say, was definitely actually my man Bull being dropped down to the deep in the second round. I think Denver scooped him up, and this kid is like, I don't understand why people are skipping out on Bull. He's
yeah,
seven
he
three.
was a lottery pick for most of the projections, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why he was invited to the draft. It was embarrassing for him to sit there while he might not be picked, even in the second round. I felt horrible for him. But this
Yeah,
guy's got like such a good upside. He's got range. He's got developed post moves. He's fast. He's pretty athletic. He might need to have a little bit more weight put on him, but that comes in time, I think. So that was
yeah.
my biggest surprise is him dropping.
I also like the Celtics picking up Carson Edwards in the second round.
Yeah, it's not
He
bad,
had
eh?
a really good tournament. He coming out for him. So
My
that's my
favorite
pick.
story, though, overall, is representing Canada. Is there's first time ever 6 players drafted in the NBA draft, 4 in the first round,
Wow.
um, 2 in the second, and that's a record-setting.
We
Um,
taking over.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think now that the Raptors have won the championship, it's just gonna keep blossoming here in Canada, especially because it's so expensive to play other sports. Um, Basketball is on the even bigger rise, and I think we're going to see more Canadians. And shout out Nick Nurse coaching Team Canada.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that.
and Andrew Wiggins committing, RJ Barrett committing for the next Olympics. I think Jamal Murray's committing as well. We're going to put in a competitive team for sure.
Yeah,
So that's exciting on the basketball end of things. What do you think about
yeah.
this? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen so many Canadians into basketball as I have around these playoffs. It's exciting when you see a Canadian team in there, and since we only have one, we all band together and cheer for the same team.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a takeover, and I like it. I definitely like it. What do you think of this? Number 4 pick there. What's his name again?
DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, sorry. The Cavs pick, Darius Garland. Sorry, um, Darius Garland, who only
Yeah,
played
yeah,
like 4 games, right? Like,
yeah,
what do you think they're thinking? Like, they already have Colin, so Sexton. So, what do you think they're thinking with
yeah.
Darius Garland? Same position.
Well, I think for the NBA draft, like there's only 60 guys that get drafted each year. I think you just have to go with the best player,
Yeah.
regardless of position. And I saw a lot of boards with Garland up even into the 3 pick. So I think they just felt like he was the best player on the board, and they had to take him.
Yeah, it's just to me it scares me. Like he's only played a few games and they got him they got him in the MVP race already, ready to fight for the position for the rookie of the year, but
Well, they
we'll
did the
see,
same thing with Kyrie, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Kyrie played maybe one more game than him, so yeah, that's a good
That
point.
worked out okay.
I like the pick. I also like the Suns pick. I'm a UNC guy, so Cameron Johnson. I think he's a slept-on kind of player. A lot of teams would have taken him later in the first round, but Suns picked him up at 11. I think he's a lot like Cam Reddish, a little better at taking it to the hoop, a little worse shooter, but I think he's a standout talent overall too. So I like the Suns pick of Cameron Johnson. And a shout out to our Japanese pick as well for the Washington Wizards. I don't know if I would have picked him at 15, but Rui Hachimura. Oh my goodness, he was hilarious in his interview as well. So we'll see how he does, bringing the game globally here. So
Yeah. Something that stood out to me about the draft, and something that is pretty confusing for the average watcher. I think is all these trades happening, and you
Right.
don't really know where the pick is going. I
Yeah.
was actually listening. I was listening to Colin Cowherd this week, and one of the reporters came on and actually messed up what team got which player. He thought the 76ers had gotten Carson Edwards, but it turns out that pick was traded away. I don't know how they
Yes.
fix that, but it's pretty confusing.
It is confusing. Yeah, I don't know how they fix that either. They all wear different hats than the teams they're actually going to be drafted to, and it's pretty wild like that. But
Yeah,
hey, it is what it is, right?
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
well, last guy I got a shout out is the last Canadian pick was Marial Shayok. He started out at the University of Ottawa, and pretty cool to see. He was I think ranked just above 60. And the Philadelphia 76ers took him at 54. He's a little bit he's not like 19. I think he's like 23 turning 24 in the next month kind of thing. But
Yeah,
Marial Shayok, he's like this I think he's going to be a good 3 and D kind of guy. I think he's got a lot of upside. And I'm going to guess, this is my prediction, that he has a good long career in the NBA. So a shout out to Marial Shayok. And there's my plug. Maybe we can get Mariel Shayok on the show.
yeah,
I got a
for
I
sure.
got a connection, so I'm gonna shout him out here. Get him out here.
All
All
right,
right, Drew.
get
What's
him
next, my
out.
friend?
Well, I don't know if you followed the NHL draft at all, but we got the NHL draft happened as well. No real surprises for me, but anything anything stick out for you there?
Uh, yeah. I don't know how I feel about about the Jets. We draft another. The NHL draft is frustrating to me. It's like you're planning for. You pick guys that could be 2 or 3 years from making a big difference. They could be
Hmm.
great. They might be, but um, it's like only a certain amount of players will make an immediate impact, right? So that's what
Right.
makes the NHL draft difficult um, to go after. But I love what New Jersey's doing for sure. They're setting up their guys around Jack Hughes, pick up a PK, all those kinds of things. I know we'll get into that in a bit, but um, yeah, I think uh, my guy Kako though is gonna be he's gonna be set up real nice to have a great season. I think the Rangers are really like he's gonna be the focal point for that team. So
Yeah,
um, that's gonna be nice for that for him. I think he's gonna have a lot of success for sure.
for sure.
But yeah,
I also like what Colorado's doing. Huge pickup. Like they got Ottawa's pick in this draft, right, from the Matt Duchene trade.
right.
So you're looking at a playoff team that just picked up another defenseman at the number 4 pick. I like what they're putting together there in Colorado, building around Nathan McKinnon. They're going to be exciting for a while.
It's pretty good for sure. I think the research I did on these picks from the Carolina Hurricanes is that they got some really good prospects as well. So they're supposed to be set up for the next little while because they already have success right now and got young talent coming up. So I think that's the best way to build your franchise too. But I'm also a guy that likes to live in the moment and want to win now. But you get when you don't have that high pick, you got to build your franchise. So
Yeah,
Hurricanes, shout out to the Hurricanes there.
sure. Well, and we got to talk about the PK trade because
Woo!
I don't know if it came out of nowhere, but for me, I was a bit shocking that he went to New Jersey. But what do
Yeah.
you? I I think New Jersey got themselves like he's one of the best defensemen. I know he had a down year and he's getting paid a lot of money, but when he's on, he's one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, he put him in a position to win, and he'll definitely help, I think. I love that he's all class. Sent a beautiful message to the Predators. He's still supporting a lot of the Predators foundations that he's a part of and started, and I'm hoping PK, gets some winning success for once. It's been a long haul for him, so I think the Devils are up and coming for sure. They're exciting team.
Yeah, I really like PK. I like him. Like he treated his exit from Montreal the same way. He still supported the Children's Hospital there in Montreal. He just seems like a stand-up guy. Um, love his energy that he brings to the ice. I know it can turn some people off, but I think it's exciting. It makes it exciting to watch, and
It's good for the game.
he's must see TV like when
Yeah,
he's out there, and he makes the game fun.
for
You know,
sure.
just let the kids play.
New Jersey might be the right place to market him as well. So
Yeah,
I think he's a very marketable player and team guy for sure. So I think New Jersey's sitting in a good spot.
yeah. The thing I'm worried about as a Leafs fan here is it looks like Nashville's trying to free up some room to make a big push for some offense. They said they want to boost their offense, and there's a guy in Toronto named Mitch Marner who's a restricted free agent, but I think Nashville is going to try and make a big push here this week or in the upcoming weeks here to get him, and I don't want to see him go, but Nashville will be getting one really good player here.
Yeah, I, Mitch Marner. I think he's one of those generational players too. I think it's a guy you have to try to keep at
For
all
sure.
costs. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm really regretting the Nylander trade,
yeah,
but
you have to. Yeah,
it's yeah.
you can only pay so many people. So
For sure, and we've got Tavares and Matthews locked up, and they're two of the highest paid players in the whole league. But Mitch Marner just is so good, so talented. I'd move whoever you need to. I know they've already moved Marlowe.
yeah, that was
They're
sad.
thinking of moving Kadri. If they could get rid of that Zaitsev deal, that'd be great. That's about 4.5
I
to 5, I think. That's what he's making, and he's not their best defenseman. Let's put it that way.
yeah, I think with the Leafs they definitely have to retain Marner for sure. I still think their biggest issue is their goaltending. I don't know what you think about that. They still have to address it.
The
What are they gonna
goaltending,
do? Yeah,
I think they're doing pretty well.
you think they're okay with the goaltender?
Yeah, he's doing
S-
good.
So between like this coming year and last year, um, where do you see the Leafs like improving, and where do you think they'll need to improve this coming year? I mean, where would they
Well,
improve from last year, and uh, and how basically?
I think the defense is where they need the most boost. I think they've got enough offensive firepower there. I think Freddie Anderson's one of the best goalies in the league. He
Okay.
stands on his head. He sees some of the most shots out of any goalie in the league, and that will be helped by getting some defense help. I heard they were in on the PK talks. They tried to
Yeah,
make a push for PK,
that'd be
but
wild.
I'd love to see them trade for a top defenseman to go with Morgan Riley. I think Morgan Riley's only getting better. He's
Yeah,
only 24, 25 years old, and we've got him locked in contract. And yeah, that's where we need to see the most improvement. Our offensive guys are still young, getting better each year. We locked up Janssen. Uh, we're in talks with Kapanen right now. Like we're looking really good. Offense, goaltending, our defense. You know, we're still young, but it would be nice to see a nice veteran defenseman in there to help out our young guys develop.
yeah, I like that. I like that. Drew, I have to ask you another question that I probably can't answer. I promised a certain fan of the sports Reverends and of the Vancouver Canucks that
Oh
um,
no,
we would give them a compliment.
who
Um,
the Canucks
the Canucks.
or the
It's
Canucks fan?
I think it might be easier to give the Canucks fan a compliment right now.
Yeah,
But I did promise him. I did promise we'd give Vancouver Canucks a compliment. So I'm gonna leave that to you because I don't know where to compliment them at this moment. It might have to be postponed. Um, but I did promise him. So can you do that for me? Can you find something to say?
Um, Roberto Luongo retired, so he had a good career. Um, they've got Brock Besser. He looks pretty good, and Pedersen. They need to calm down a little bit on how good Pedersen is. I hear some people, I've maybe not this Canucks fan, but I've heard Canucks fans comparing him to Gretzky. And let's just hold on a second before we do
Oh,
that.
yo.
But
Uh,
I think the Canucks are at a point where the Leafs were 3 or 4 years ago, and they do have some nice young players who are gonna start coming up here, and they've got some cap room now, and uh, as long as they don't waste that cap room, they don't start getting desperate. Uh, don't desperately throw money at people.
mm,
I think it was Justin Lefebvre actually this week commenting about how he'd rather trade for Zaitsev than give Tyler Myers a big contract, and I think that's smart because when teams get desperate, they just sort of start throwing. They have this cap space, and they need to throw the money at somebody. I think if they just be patient, let their guys develop, they're going to be in good shape coming up.
there you go. Shout
How
out
was that
to
for a? How was
that was
that?
pretty good for those Canucks fans out there. I know Vancouver put on a nice NHL draft as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I won't say anything negative for sure. I've done that enough.
How
So
about you got any Kawhi updates for us?
yeah, the big
You
Kawhi
go to
update
his
is that
house?
no one knows what's going on with Kawhi. There's so much speculation, and in Toronto, people are like, the paparazzi are wild for Kawhi.
Yeah.
That the mayor and superfan have issued a statement to leave Kawhi alone, which I think will only amp up the Kawhi paparazzi.
Yeah.
Kawhi brushed his teeth in Niagara Falls and brought his family there, and I know all that because that's in our media. So
Wow.
um, the report from Chuck Hayes though is that he's still seriously considering the Toronto Raptors as the number one place to re-sign, which is encouraging. He'd be stupid to not check out the different places that want him. I think it's a duty that he should go and fulfill and have the conversations. But I'm confident he resigns. Toronto Raptors are going to run it back, have another championship run. Marc Gasol also picked up his player option, and of course he's not going to turn down that 26 million. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we're going to run it back, I think. So I think Danny Green's excited to come back if Kawhi comes back too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think with the state that the league is in right now, I know they said a couple weeks ago the Clippers had the upper hand, but I think looking at it now, the state that the Western teams are in right now,
mm,
and the state that the East is in right now, like it's just like the Celtics are still going to be good, but they're not going to be as good as they were. It's really just going to be the Bucks and the Raptors, and we'll
yeah,
see if the 76ers can figure out what they are and who they want and stuff. But I think, yeah, if Kawhi stays, I think he's got a guaranteed trip to the finals
yeah.
and a good chance of going back to back.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I love what you said. The West is just getting more and more intense. Another super teams coming together with the Lakers. I don't think it's. I know the Lakers are a mess of a organization right now, but um, it would be pretty difficult to screw up building around Kyle Kuzma, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. So they're in a good spot. I was talking to Scott Poirier about it yesterday, and I was telling him like they don't need to go sign another big name player. I don't think just fill up their roster with better role players. I
Yeah,
think that would be the smartest move. Um, but yeah, Lakers. I think Klay Thompson's gonna return sooner, and he's gonna re-sign with the Warriors. They're gonna offer him the max.
yeah,
I don't know where Durant's gonna go, but I think the Warriors are gonna be right there in the contenders bracket because Klay Thompson's going to return probably after Christmas.
I've
He's
heard
fast.
March.
Yeah, well, that's like a year. It's an ACL tear. Typically, it's like 6 months. But I think on top of he's dedicated in taking care of his body and all that. I think he's returns probably end of January, because I have such a great medical degree.
Yeah,
But
tell
but
us more.
that's just typical. It's typically 6 months where they return after ACL. But that I'm just saying with that, the Warriors are going to still be up there. I think the Rockets are going to, if they can land Jimmy Butler and keep the same, they're going to keep the same team regardless. They're going to be right there. Denver's right there as well. So it's just heating up in the New Orleans. I think they squeak into the playoffs. Who knows what?
Yeah,
If
if they
Dallas
get
can
Al
land
Horford, they're a
Kimbo,
playoff team
yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure,
But
for
those are the
sure.
two teams I've heard for Al Horford are Dallas or New Orleans.
Yeah, I also heard Dallas is a Kemba Walker potential too. So
That'd be good.
that'd
Yeah.
be nice for sure.
I've heard
I'm not.
Kemba's name, and every team wants Kemba.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I can't believe he's gonna turn down the Supermax from the Bobcats. Like that's crazy.
Are they still the Bobcats?
Oh, they're not the Bobcats. They're the Charlotte Hornets. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself.
Yeah.
My bad. My bad. But the Supermax? How do you turn down the Supermax?
Yeah.
Could you turn down like that amount of money? That's like 70 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's a lot
Well,
of
it's the
money to.
same thing with Durant, right?
Yeah.
He's turning down 60 million.
Yeah, that's. You think he's gone? KD?
Oh yeah, I think he's gone. I think it's either Brooklyn or the Knicks.
Brooklyn
So
or the Knicks, eh?
yeah,
Yeah, like that's gonna be, yeah. The last report was that Kevin Durant's actually really upset with the Warriors, so um I could see him leaving for sure. That's gonna change the dynamic of the league. I don't think do you think he returns at all this year, or he's gonna take one full year
no,
off?
no. I think he just takes the year off and
Yeah,
comes back.
yeah, he's gonna come back on fire for sure. Okay, so apparently as well, the Los Angeles Lakers are trying to reunite with Deangelo Russell. Um,
Yeah, I heard that today.
if he comes full
That
circle,
sounds bad.
you think it's
He was
bad?
sort of run out of town, wasn't
Yeah, yeah, he was totally run out of town. He's run out of town for being a quote unquote snitch.
he? Yeah.
People are mad at him for um, being a good guy, which is kind of sad. I get that you're supposed to keep it within your team, but I think people should have been
Yeah.
mad at Swaggy P a little bit, not so much at Deangelo Russell.
Yeah.
But look,
But super
D'Angelo
talented player.
could have been
He
most
can
improved, right?
score buckets.
Yeah,
First time All Star this year.
yeah,
But the thing I worry about in hearing that is does a guy who just became an All Star, how does he feel about taking on the role of being the third
true.
option on a team?
Yeah, his ego might take a hit for sure. Um, I think if I'm the Lakers, the way I sell it to them is that they're gonna have to load manage both those other two guys like heavily. Um, that's why I think they want to sign another big free agent because those other two, they can't play a full season without being hurt. And you don't want them worn down come playoff time. So they got
Mhm.
to really build around them. So that's why I think that's what they're thinking about signing with a big free agent. But I don't know. Would you pay him? Would you pay D'Angelo Russell close to the max?
I I
If
don't
you're
think
any
so.
team, how about that?
That comes back to the whole thing of teams being desperate with cap space, right?
Yeah,
And they feel like they need to sign somebody. And I could see a team doing that, like thinking we need a guy. This guy was an all-star. Um, but I wouldn't. I'd have to. There's better names out there that I would try for first.
Would you sign Kyrie Irving to a max on any team?
I'm not a Kyrie fan,
Hmm.
but I'm sure there are teams that there's going to be a team that's going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, for
But
sure.
again, if I was the GM, I wouldn't.
The
I,
Brooklyn
I
GM.
don't I don't
Go ahead.
think there's a player out like Katie and Kawhi right now are max contract guys.
Yeah.
I don't really see anyone outside of that right now in this free agency.
Yeah. Um, I liked. I think it was Colin Cowherd was also talking about the size, the smaller guards, right? They break down earlier than most other NBA players. So Kemba, if he signs a max, even with whatever team for a 5-year max, um, how old will he'll be? 34 at the end of that deal.
Yeah,
Do you think a 34-year-old Kemba, a 33-year-old Kemba, or even a 32-year-old Kemba who's going to be losing his athleticism a little bit? Maybe not at 32, maybe 33 though. Like, is that going to be worth that money? That back end of the contract's going to be tough on that on any team.
yeah,
Same
because
thing with Kyrie.
that's where he makes his money, right? Is on his athleticism
Yeah.
and he's never really been a pure shooter. Um,
Hmm.
so, but we've seen guys turn into better shooters as well, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. Drew, is
So
anything you want to touch on the NBA awards? Do you think anyone was shafted, or do you think they got it right?
I think they got it. I think they got it pretty right. I don't. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm the only question I have is well, actually, I don't know if I'm sold on Rudy Gobert. Is he really that dominant force on the defensive end? I know he gets a
I
lot of
I,
blocks, but
I think he is. Yeah.
is he better than Paul George and Giannis though? That's like when I compare all three of them, it's like those guys lock up every position. Like they can lock up almost 1 through 5. Rudy
Yeah.
Gobert, he can't cover a point guard or a 2 guard or a 3 guard, but that's my only shot at that. I thought what they were going to do is that they would give James Harden the MVP and Giannis the Defensive Player of the Year. That's kind of what I was hoping because James Harden averaged 36 points a game, and that's insane. Broke the
Yeah,
record for
but look at the
30-point games
complete
in a
game,
season.
though. Look at the complete game,
Yeah, he's more assists than Giannis, but less rebounds.
and and do this. Take take each player off the team. Like we're talking about. I think most valuable to a team. Like take each player off their team. Like which team is better? Which team is better without that player?
Yeah,
Or
that's
which team
tough.
is
What do you
worse?
think? What do you think about the Rockets? They're without James Harden? The Rockets without James Harden?
The Rockets
They're,
without James Harden still have Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, PJ Tucker. Like that's a good team. Like
yeah, I think I'm a Chris
You
Paul
take
hater,
Giannis off
so
the Bucks, and I'm not even sure they're a playoff team. Well, in the East, yeah, they'd be a playoff team.
probably. But yeah, like Brogdon is underrated. Middleton's an all-star. Probably. Do you think Middleton's overrated or just right?
I think
Probably
he's
to
just
me.
right.
Yeah, to me is on the border of just right and overrated. Um, but yeah, like I get what you're saying for sure.
Well, take it position by position, even right.
Okay.
You got centers. You got Clint Capella or Brook Lopez. Who are you taking?
Well, it's hard. It's so hard to judge that because regular season, I'm taking Brook Lopez. I mean, I'm taking Clint Capella. Sorry, but Brook Lopez in the playoffs was money. Just say, well, overall,
Yeah, but
minus like
can you
he was
trust
average his
that?
records. Yeah, well, Clint Capella was
Bledsoe or
trash. Was
Bledsoe or
was
Paul? Who are
unplayable.
you taking? Chris Paul or Eric Bledsoe?
Yeah, well, I obviously I have to go Chris Paul because Eric Bledsoe like wets the bed in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Um,
and
Chris
you got
Paul
Eric Gordon.
doesn't do great though. But Middleton beats Gordon, right?
Yeah, Eric Gordon's a good player, but yeah.
Middleton covers and is Gordon's good, yeah, but Middleton's better. Giannis, whatever position you want to put him in,
Yeah,
beats out Harden. Does he? Oh, I don't know.
I think.
I think so because he
I
plays
think.
defense.
Yeah, yeah. Giannis is a more complete player. I think.
Yeah, but he can't shoot.
Yeah,
That's
but
the only thing.
he can get to the basket whenever he wants.
Yeah, well, against the Raptors, we figured it out for him. But
Yeah, but this is a regular season award.
yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, I just feel sad for James Harden because he's been the only times he hasn't won the MVP when he's had MVP caliber seasons is like because of um historic other MVPs. There's Westbrook the first time he averaged triple double. There's Curry when he just destroyed the PER system and was
Yeah,
rivaling Will Chamberlain. And then Giannis this year, which was I don't know, it's hard to say. 36 points a game. He doesn't win MVP. What is it? What does the guy got to do? Average 40?
yeah,
Plus his team was injured so much of the year, and they finished third in the West, which is pretty good. But that's the only argument I have. Sorry, I'll stop arguing about it though.
yeah. I think they got it right, but yeah, it was close, and I think if Harden had a more well-rounded game, if he showed some effort, I know that's not popular in today's NBA, but if he at least showed some effort on that end, he might
Yeah.
get some more votes.
Yeah, he's improved, but he definitely does take plays off still often. It was Spicy P with the most improved. I like that. It was a good emotional speech. And
Yeah,
Giannis's MVP speech was very moving as well. Maybe I'm just getting soft, but I was very moved through the draft and the MVP NBA awards. So
yeah. I think you're just getting soft.
just getting soft.
Why don't we move on to some baseball, because that's the sport that's actually happening right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, some news came out this week, and I wanted to get your thoughts before I share my thoughts on this. But the Tampa Bay Rays are starting talks to see if they can play half their season in Montreal. Now, I want to hear what you have to say about this, because this sounds weird. And what do you think?
I overall, it's absolutely ridiculous. I understand Tampa Bay. They're having a great season and they're barely selling tickets now. But maybe that's just a sign for them to move. You can't like what are you supposed to do? Like Montreal, will they really love the Tampa Bay Rays? I think in Montreal they just want the Montreal Expos back at the end of the day. I think overall it's kind of ridiculous. I love more baseball in Canada. I wish the Expos to have a team. I think Vancouver could have a team, although Vancouver continually disappoints me in their love for sports. So um, with that, I'll just leave it at that. But I think they can have a sports team. Okay, what I'll say is for it is that I was in Vancouver for games 3 and 4 of the NBA Finals, and they weren't doing any Jurassic Park in one of the major cities in Canada because they can't control themselves with rioting. And they barely did any. They filled up a couple Scotiabank theaters. That's it. While like Calgary, Regina, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, they're all having these pretty decent sized Jurassic Park supporting Canada's team, and Vancouver's just dropping the ball. I was upset about that. Although I got a really fire Kawhi Leonard T-shirt from Vancouver. That's all I'll have to say. But I think
All right, let's
Vancouver's
get
a
back to
baseball.
baseball here.
Yeah, Vancouver's a baseball city. They produce a lot of baseball players, so they could have a good team. But yeah, it's ridiculous overall. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, I have the same thoughts as you. I think on the surface, as Canadians, we want to see more sports come our way, and I know people still miss the Expos. I see Expos hats everywhere. Maybe just as many as Blue Jays. Uh, yeah, it sounds good on the surface, but really that only amounts to about 40 games in Montreal a year, and I don't understand it on the Tampa Bay side. Like, why are the MLB so desperate to keep a team in Tampa Bay? It doesn't make sense. They've never really been a profitable team.
No.
Uh, they they've had good teams, which is sad. Like that they can't fill their stadiums, even when they made it to the World Series. That's got to be what 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and they still were struggling uh, to get people into the seats. And I think either move or
Mm.
like I don't know, move the whole team to Montreal or find somewhere that's going to take them full time.
Yeah. Go all in. Move. Their current attendance is lower than the Blue Jays right now,
Yeah,
and that's ridiculous.
and they're fighting for the AL East right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know they've got a lease on the stadium till 2027, so I think that's sort of what the hang up is.
Oh, okay.
But at some point, you just got to cut your losses, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Cut them. Send them to Montreal. Let's go.
yeah.
Bring back the Expos.
And
Start.
another thing that we had posted on our Facebook page this year was about the man Mike Trout. Uh, I just love watching Mike Trout play. A little story on our honeymoon. Actually went to an Angels game, and I think Mike Trout in that year sat out. Let me look here. We got married in 2014. He sat out 5 games the whole year, and that was the one game that he sat out was one that we went to on our honeymoon,
No
and
way.
I was so choked. We bought I bought a Trout jersey, and I was all psyched to see him play. And he wasn't like he was hurt or anything. He was just resting. And
Ah,
but we did see Albert Pujols hit a home run, so that was pretty cool.
that's
But
cool.
this
Yeah.
guy just is just when you think he can't get any better, he's getting better each year. Like
Yeah.
just some amazing things. He's been an all-star every year. Every full season he's been up. He's been top two in the MVP voting every year except for one. He was fourth, but he's been top two every other year. He's been Silver Slugger almost every year.
Ridiculous.
Also, just ridiculous. Rookie of the Year's first year up. He does it all. He steals bases. He hits home runs. He gets on base. He's cutting down on his strikeouts, and his walks are up, and just unreal. I don't know if you've ever. He was just in Toronto last week, but just watching him play is why I love baseball. Just guys like this.
He brought excitement to the Blue Jays stadium. They people came to watch Mike Trout when he was here for sure. He was killing it against us. So
Yeah, yeah. And you can just tell like he loves baseball. He loves playing.
yeah,
Um, Baseball needs more guys like him. I know
he's
the
fun.
commissioner would like him to be a little more outspoken and a
For
little
sure.
more promotable. He's a bit of a quiet. He's sort of like Kawhi in that way. Like he's a beast, but he doesn't talk a whole lot. But I've always see him taking time with fans and signing autographs and stuff like that. He's just a good guy. Um, he's going to be in LA long term, so better get used to him in an Angels uniform. I hope they can start to build a
Yeah,
team around him that can win.
no, no
He's only
kidding.
been in the
He's
playoffs one year.
which is
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, that's the thing about baseball, right? Like you need a team built around him. That's why it's amazing. I was listening to someone else talk about this earlier this week, but these big 10-year contracts, we've never seen a big contract actually produce a championship, unless
Hmm.
you're counting A Rod, who was just traded, like from Texas to New York. They won a
Right.
World Series, but other than that,
They,
we've never seen like these Bryce Harper, Manny Machado contracts. We've never
yeah,
seen a team go out, spend big money, and win a championship. So I'm
yeah,
hoping that
that's
the
pretty
Angels
wild, eh?
can build a team around him, because where this guy is headed, and it sounds ridiculous to say, but he's in like Babe Ruth territory. Like he's headed in that direction with the averages that he's putting up, and he's only 27.
Yeah, that's
He's
young, man.
still reaching his prime. Baseball, you can have a long career. Um, as long as he stays healthy, I see him being one of the best players of all time.
Oh, the best player or one of the best?
Oh, he could definitely be, if he stays healthy, if he plays a 20-year career, at this rate, he's going to be the best player of all time. I'm
I
saying
like
that.
it. I'm putting this down. We're gonna come back to this in 20 years or whatever, how many more years, and
Yeah.
we'll go back to your
But
call right now. I like
I'll
it.
follow that up by saying there's another guy for the Angels who, if he can stay healthy as well, Shohei Ohtani. Uh, first first real threat of a pitcher hitter duo.
Hmm.
If he can get back to pitching after Tommy John surgery next year, he's legit at the plate, and he was striking everybody out last year when he was on the mound.
Wow.
He could actually be the next Babe Ruth, who also pitched and hit as well. So the
Two
Angels
babe.
could be an exciting team to watch over the next couple of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, that's exciting for sure. All right,
Anything else
what's
you want
next,
to get
sir?
to?
Um, yeah. What do you think about Marcus Stroman and his excitement when he plays baseball? Um, he not so much taunt, but he's loud. He cheers. He's energetic when he gets a strikeout. What do you think?
Yeah,
And what do you think that looks for baseball too?
well, it sort of gets me, like, I think baseball needs more of this, and I know baseball knows it needs more of this. They
Yeah.
came out with this whole promotion this year that said just let the kids play, and
Yeah.
they want people to show emotion. But then a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you saw the highlights, Max Muncy hit a home run off of Madison Bumgarner in San Francisco, and Max Muncy barely even looked out at the mound, and
Right.
Madison Bumgarner yelled at him all the way around the bases, and you know, and I understand it. Madison Bumgarner says, if you're going to say let the kids play, do whatever they want, I'm going to do what I want, right? This is how I
Yeah,
show my emotion. So it goes both ways.
for sure.
Marcus Stroman is loud, but he's got to be able to take it from the other team, right? Because they're going to chirp right back. But
For
I think
sure.
it's good for baseball. It got us
Yeah.
talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So, so the more exposure baseball can get, I think it's the better. Again, I hope Marcus Stroman goes somewhere other than the Yankees, because that's where it sounds like he's going. Even though I do think the Yankees could give the Blue Jays the best in return. If we could
Yeah.
get someone like Clint Frazier, I don't know if you followed him, but he was the main player that the Yankees got back for Andrew Miller. He was a number one prospect at one point in his minor league career. He's a guy, they've got an overcrowded outfield in New York, and I think if they can get him back, I'd be okay with seeing that trade go down.
That's yeah, for sure get the most return. I just I don't want him to leave.
Yeah, I don't want him to leave either, but he's the only one who's not a prospect who's
Right.
doing well that we could trade, right? Like
Yeah.
Aaron Sanchez has been terrible, and with the
Terrible. Oh
blister
my
injury,
goodness.
uh, no one's going to give anything up for him. You got to wait until he's at least pitching better to trade him. Marcus Stroman's been lights out this year, just
Yeah,
no run support for him.
it's
Um,
brutal, man.
and as a sinker ball pitcher, he gets the ball on the ground. He said it this week. He's built for Yankee Stadium, where the ball flies out of that park. But if he can keep the ball on the ground, I think he'd be a great piece for them. I've sort of given up on the hopes of the Blue Jays winning this year. So,
That's fair.
I'd love to see Stroman go somewhere and win. So
Yeah.
even if that's in the Yankees uniform, maybe we can get our heads around that at some point. But we'll see
So,
what happens.
so overall, what would you say our Toronto Blue Jays update is?
Dan, they are still not very good. That's about as nice as I can put it. But they are getting more exciting to watch, I'd say, with these young guys coming up. Lourdes Gurriel has been unreal
Nice, man. It's
since he
nice.
came back from the minors, and
Glad he's trying
he,
to take some of his good luck right now. He's rubbing
yeah,
his
I
shoulders and
saw
stuff.
that. I saw that, and it gives Vladdy some protection too. Having a guy that can hit well in the lineup doesn't means that teams have to pitch to Vladdy now, right?
Yeah.
Because there's other guys that can hurt you. And Kevin Biggio has been really good hitting in the leadoff spot. Even Eric Sogard, grizzled
Yeah.
veteran, he might be a good trade piece. He's hitting over 300. Yeah, they're getting more exciting to watch. Their pitching is just not very good. Again, that's about
Yeah.
as nice as I can say it. But watch out. Call it 5 years. They're going to be the team to watch in the American League East.
Okay. I love it. We're 5 years away.
Yeah, we're 5 years.
I hope it's a little sooner than that, but I think you're probably right in 5 years. But
Yeah,
go Blue Jays.
go Blue Jays. So we're just about done here for the day, but I hope everyone has a great week this week. What are you up to this week, Dan?
Yeah, I'm excited for this upcoming few weeks. I run a program called the Urban Hope Mentorship Program. It's a program for inner city kids and youth. And the 3 weeks of July, we're running summer camps that are affordable summer camps. We only charge $10 for the week, so we make it available for all kids to be able to attend. They're always a highlight for my year, being able to mentor these kids and build up some of our junior leaders and give them hands-on opportunities to mentor as well. We use sports as a big aspect in our camps as well, which is pretty cool to have sports and mentorship building up kids and youth in our Toronto inner city. So I'm excited for that. Excited for to see the growth in some of our youth as well as they have hands-on opportunities to learn some leadership skills. So yeah, I'm excited moving forward. What about you, Drew? What's going on with you next little bit?
Yeah, we're getting pretty fired up here too in Selkirk, and last year we had our first vacation Bible school where we just had a week of kids from the community come in, just have a couple hours of just fun games, crafts, and yeah, we teach them about Jesus and that God loves them and stuff like that. And we're excited this year. We've already hit 30 registered for this year, and last year
Unreal.
we had 50, and it's not until the end of August. So we're excited about how many kids we could possibly have, and yeah, I'm super excited about this summer at our church.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Awesome. Is there do you have any sports aspect in your camp, sports and faith, um, at all?
Yeah,
Is it
we
more? Yeah,
yeah
go ahead.
we have one of the kids move around in stations. They've got it's about a 3 hour thing, and one of the stations is games, and they definitely do some sports during the week, some soccer and some dodgeball and stuff like that, and just let them burn off that energy.
It's awesome, man. Awesome. Sports and faith is what I'm all about. So, um,
Yeah.
love it, buddy.
All right.
Well, we'll excited for the next podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's it for us today. We're so glad you tuned in and listened to us. Make sure you give us a like and a follow on our social media, on our Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Hit it up.
Make
Hit
sure
it
you
up.
subscribe and like the podcast. Leave us a review.
Oh,
That's how we get more exposure, get out there. Hit us up on Facebook. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Argue with us, agree with us, whatever you want to do. And we apologize once again to those Vancouver sports fans. But if you get at us on Facebook, we'll be sure to hit you back as well. But remember, we aren't experts here. but we are the Sports Reverends.